Alright, what is up YouTube? My name is Kenneth and welcome back to KT Lifestyle, where I share my best tips and tricks that I have gained throughout my travels. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to share you my entire experience when I went to Road to Hana in Maui. Alright, so when you search up the term Road to Hana on YouTube right now, there is a lot of amazing content out there where they show you waterfalls, awesome shots of people driving down the roads, trees and all that stuff. But I just want to caution you that although I do agree that Road to Hana is amazing and is beautiful, I just want you guys to be prepared, which is why I'm making this video of all the tips and tricks mostly related to how to be prepared before you go to Road to Hana. Because in my experience, it was kind of like a last minute thing and my family went ahead and just went because we heard of this awesome and amazing Road to Hana adventure. Not a lot of research, not a lot of planning, and it was a really scary experience for us. So I want you guys to avoid having that scary experience. Be prepared, know all the tips and tricks before you go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these tips. So tip number one, you want to take a quick look at the Road to Hana map, whether you just do a quick search on Google Maps or if you are like near a souvenir store walking around the day before you plan to go. They have the Road to Hana shirts where they have the image of Maui kind of like on a map, and it shows you how squiggly and sharp these lines are when you do decide to go drive and take on that journey. Tip number two, make sure you head out early. So this is very important, mostly for your safety. You do not want to be driving back in the dark, but you definitely want to maximize the time you are out there taking photos and taking videos and stuff while there's still daylight outside, because once it starts getting dark, you do not want to drive down these roads on these really treacherous roads in the dark. So definitely make sure you head out early. Alright, so tip number three, consider the vehicle you are driving in. So in our case, we had a party of 8 people and we had to rent one giant SUV. It's kind of like a suburban type vehicle. We had a really hard time maneuvering through the roads because again, the roads are really narrow. It's really hard to get through those turns without like slowing down significantly. Just to be on the safe side, like definitely consider splitting your party up to 2, rent 2 smaller vehicles. We did see when we were up there that a lot of tourists were using a lot smaller cars like convertibles, so consider doing that so you can avoid all the stress that you get when you're driving a really big vehicle. Definitely you want to focus on capturing the moments, capturing the photos, the videos that you want to capture, instead of focusing on, oh, I'm going too slow for the next vehicle and stuff like that. And also, if you do not have a lot of experience kind of driving through the mountains and stuff, there is the option of going through bus tours. So there's a lot of people that take that path and just like have a bus driver kind of drive you around. They'll drop you into certain stops where you can take these awesome pictures, and so that will definitely relieve all the stress out for you. So that's again another option that you can take. Tip number 4, drive safely. So this goes alongside with kind of like the last tip. You do not want to drive fast. Again, safety first. If you do decide to drive, whether you're in a convertible or an SUV, make sure you do not drive too fast. So there's definitely going to be people trying to pressure you from behind because you may be driving too slow because you're scared, or depending on the circumstance you are, you may be scared, you may be just trying to enjoy the view. So there is the option of turnouts where you could kind of like go to the side and let the people pass, so they don't pressure you to going faster than you're comfortable with, because if you do go faster than you're comfortable with, there's more chances of you getting into an accident, and you do not want that. And there was this one time where we were in a really narrow path, the oncoming traffic, and then our side of the traffic can't really see when the right time to yield is, so we kind of like met path, and then there was no place for us to go except try to squeeze on this path that was meant for one car. But then there's my car coming in with this giant SUV, and then the other car coming in, and we're just trying to squeeze through. So what happened was there's a mountain right here on this side and then a railing here, and then this is where you fall to your death. But we were already here and then the car was already here, so we were trying to kind of squeeze in, maneuver and stuff. So imagine this is my car, this is my phone, and imagine this is my car, this is the mountain, and like for like 5 to 10 minutes we're trying to like reverse backwards, forwards, just to give enough room for another car to go through here. So our car was literally diagonal, the right tires were on top of the mountain. And even with that, in a one-way road, there's not enough space still for another car to pass through. So eventually, after like 5 to 10 minutes of us just like stalling there, no cars going this way, no cars going that way, the car to my left kind of just like got fed up and went through, scraping the side of his car on the railing. The sound was like unbearable, but he had to sacrifice it, and then we were able to go through, and everybody else was kind of smoothly able to go through. That was a really scary experience for us because we rented this car, we don't want to damage it, and at the same time we were being kind of like, we weren't being pressured, but like we were holding up the line both ways, and like we were there for 5 to 10 minutes. It was crazy. But so basically what I'm trying to say with this tip is to remember to drive carefully, understand that there are one-way roads and sharp turns, and make sure to understand where and when to yield when you're going through these roads. Alright, so real quick, I would love to know for any of you guys that have been to Road to Hana before to leave in the comment section below your own tips and tricks. So go ahead and pause this video right now and then leave that comment below before we move on. So tip number 5 kind of follows the trend of our previous tips of driving safely. So make sure to consider these yield markings on the roads. When you're driving throughout Road to Hana, you're gonna commonly see these white triangle marks on the roads, which suggest that you yield at these certain points, or at least take a look ahead to make sure no one is coming on your oncoming direction. Because when you do see these yield marks, it is often because you are coming into a one-way path where only one car at a time going either direction can go through. So what I tend to do when I see these yield markings on the road is I kind of yield for a split second and look forward and see if there is any car already passing through this one-way path. And if there is, I just stay put there until that car passes by me. So that's when I know that it's my turn to go through that path. Alright, so tip number 6, consider the weather. So a lot of the times in Road to Hana is gonna be raining. It's already hard enough to drive throughout the Road to Hana when it's not raining. So on our way back, it was pouring rain. It was crazy. So in these cases where the weather is really bad, you just have to amplify the previous tips we've already told you. Drive safely, drive carefully. All this stuff is gonna be amplified to the max. You do not want to be driving super fast around these turns. So the worsening weather is definitely going to increase the chances of you being in an accident, and it's just really bad when you get into an accident at Road to Hana. It's a one-way road, right? Someone does get into an accident, it's going to be definitely an inconvenience to you, but it's going to be an inconvenience to the locals and everybody else visiting. So definitely be careful while you're driving there. Alright, so tip number 7, consider going the full loop. When you see the Road to Hana map, it is possible to drive all around the full loop of Maui and then just go make a big circle. However, in our experience, we were considering doing the full loop, but there are some time frames where there is construction and it blocks the path for people to do the full entire loop. So they would like reach where the construction is and then have to drive all the way back around. If you do want to do the full loop, make sure you ask the locals, make sure you ask the tour guides or whatever to see if it is possible on the day you're visiting. Alright, for our next tip, make sure you do your research before you get onto the road. This is very important because even though you are in nature, you're kind of expecting that you're just going to take pictures of these waterfalls off the road and all that stuff. There are some places that you may want to go to that do have an entrance fee. So you do want to have enough cash in hand if you do want to enter these certain places. And it goes alongside with this is, again, I did mention waterfalls earlier. Once you enter the Road to Hana, there's going to be a bunch of waterfalls. Road to Hana is definitely known to having a lot of waterfalls. So while you're on the road, you're going to see the first few waterfalls, like the first 1 to 2 waterfalls is kind of going to be on the road, and there's going to be very limited parking on the road, and you do not want to block the road just to get a picture of the waterfall. This is because there are plenty of waterfalls at Road to Hana. You happen to see the first waterfall and there's like no parking there, move on to the next waterfall. Go to the second one, there's still no parking there, keep moving on. There's going to be plenty of waterfalls you're going to see, and eventually you're going to find a place where there's plenty of parking. You'll probably get a better view because there's going to be enough time for you to take a better picture and not have to worry about, oh, my car is parked illegally in the middle of the road. Consider your surroundings, make sure you're not blocking the road. Safety for you, safety for everybody else, safety for the locals. Make sure you don't block the roads or anything like that when you're trying to take a super awesome picture with the waterfall. Alright, so for our last and final tip, definitely visit the food stands. They have really good foods, a wide selection, different types of fruit. Some of them have coconuts. Yummy.
Yeah, that's a coconut.
We did drive by one that was offering coconut ice cream. It's definitely worth a try. If it's your first time in Maui, go ahead and like, even if it's a little more on the expensive side, I think it's worth it getting a coconut from Road to Hana, just having that experience. You'll definitely check out these food stands. And I know a lot of this video is kind of just like preparing you to kind of be safe and all that stuff while you're on the road. But lucky for you, if you were thinking this video was kind of like a list of places to go when you're on the road, I'm just about to go through the top 4 places that we went to Road to Hana. So our very first stop was this place called Twin Falls. I think we got there a little bit early. They had a little pineapple stand, like a fruit truck. So the area where Twin Falls was open for you to visit. When you go through, there's really tall trees that you can take pictures with. And if you keep on walking, you're definitely going to see the Twin Falls from there. It was a really nice view. Definitely worth your time to check it out. So our second stop in Road to Hana is the Garden of Eden Arboretum.
Oh look, there's peacocks.
Oh look, there's one in the tree.
Oh, there's one right there.
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Someone take a picture and send it to me.
Oh look, there's a good looking guy driving.
Chicken. And there's a chicken.
So this is one of those places that I was talking about earlier that had an entrance fee. It was definitely worth that entrance fee. We spent most of our day at this place at the Garden of Eden. Definitely plan to bring food for the trip. They do have picnic tables for you to eat, and they also have these wild, they're turkeys, but like peacocks, I think it was. They had these wild peacocks that were kind of just roaming around and walking around us while we were eating. There are a lot of plants, a lot of trees. A lot of them are labeled. I think they give you a map. There's like these giant old trees. There's also like pineapple plants and all that stuff. So if you're into that, Garden of Eden is definitely a place for you to check out. All right, so for our third stop at Road to Hana, we went to the lava tube. So we didn't actually go in the lava tube because again, this one does also have an entrance fee. I think at the time it was $12 per person, and again, there's 8 of us, and it's a lot of money for us, and it was kind of getting a little dark, and we didn't want to go into a really dark cave. My parents were just kind of scared to go, and again, it's also expensive. But the people there were kind enough to let us peek our heads for like a couple minutes to see how dark the lava tube was. It's kind of like an underground place where before in ancient history or something, lava went through it, and it's like this really dark cave, but then the walls are really like lava-y. I don't really know how to explain it, so I guess I'm gonna put some pictures right here. But we didn't end up going to it, but it's definitely an interesting place to go. If you do go, I think they do have like a deal or something if they're field maze that's kind of just like next to the lava tube, so you consider looking into that. But yeah, lava tube's definitely great for the kids. I think they give you flashlights and stuff. So definitely a noteworthy stop as well. And so our final stop on our trip on Road to Hana is the 7 sacred pools. So technically we didn't really stop here. We kind of just stopped right in front of the entrance because it was definitely really on a pricey side for us. Again, considering we had 8 people and we kind of were just going into Road to Hana expecting that there was no entrance fees, which was lack of planning on our part. But that is a really cool place to go. Again, consider the entrance fee. We just didn't have time to go. We just wanted to go back home because it was getting dark. Again, safety first. Try to head back before it gets dark. So yeah, I think that's gonna about wrap up all my tips. Those are all my tips for Road to Hana. Make sure you are planned. And again, there's my 4 places you have a chance to visit to when you do go. So after watching that whole video, if you do still decide to go to Road to Hana, make sure you do implement all these safety procedures before heading out. And if you do decide you do not want to go, don't worry. The Road to Hana is not the only thing you can do in Maui. There are plenty of other places. So hit the bell notification right here if you want to know the best snorkeling spots in Maui. So we spent a whole entire week snorkeling almost each and every day in Maui. So next week I'm going to show you all these different beaches and all these snorkeling spots that you can go and check out next time you go snorkeling in Maui. All right, so that's going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you find this content valuable. So while you're waiting for next week's video, consider checking out these 2 videos right here from my channel. Other than that, I wish you guys all the best, and I will see you next Monday.